Good evening. We'd like to call this meeting to order.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 12, 2024. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspaper, posted on public bulletin boards and the Township website.
Thank you. Can I get a roll call?
Councilman Albanese.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Here.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Here.
Councilman Feinman.
Here.
Councilwoman Travers.
Here.
Vice President Ambrosino.
Here.
President Menachino.
Here.
Thank you.
Can everybody rise, please, to salute the flag in a moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you accept the reports?
Yes.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes for February 13th meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Marianne.
Thank you. All right, we had a presentation scheduled, but it was postponed to a later meeting for other reasons. This
Can I-
brings us to our consent agenda.
Excuse me, can I take a roll on the minutes first?
Sure.
Okay. Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Feinman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Ambrosino.
Yes.
President Menachino.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Next time, just throw something. All right, this brings us to our consent agenda.
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Thank you. 4-1.
Authorize emergency temporary budget extension.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the extension of the Township's temporary budget, which remains in place until the 2024 municipal budget is approved. In accordance with state law, municipalities must operate using a temporary budget so that commitments and payments can be made prior to the adoption of the actual budget. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-2, please.
Authorize form and sale of bonds.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. This resolution provides for the combination of the sale of a bond not to exceed $15,000 and the sale of the bond anticipation notes in the amount of $19,586,800. As projects are approved, the township typically starts out by securing bond anticipation notes known as bands, which is a temporary form of financing. Once the project scope or equipment specifications are better defined, we roll those bands into bonds. We use temporary financing at the outset to give us a chance to better define cost as opposed to long-term financing on estimates. Notes, short-term financing, may be rolled into bonds, permanent financing, after their third anniversary date, which is the typical practice of the township. We do this in accordance with recommendations from our bond counsel, financial consultant, and chief financial officer. The bond and note will be sold and issued with the provisions of the local bond law.
Thank you. 4-3.
Authorize receipt of bids roadway improvements to Courtshire Drive.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for roadway improvements to Courtshire Drive. This project was approved in our 2024 budget. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-4.
Authorize award of contract through Stafford Township Cooperative Pricing System, furnishing and delivery of diesel fuel.
This resolution authorizes the award of contract for the delivery of diesel fuel to Riggins, Inc., Vineland. This is a firm price contract with a fixed margin of 0.193 per gallon over the low posting price for ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel as indicated as the day of delivery. This is a two-year contract made through the Stafford Township Cooperative Pricing System. 4-5.
Authorize award of contract mobile ice cream truck.
Councilwoman Travers.
Council President, this resolution authorizes an award of contract in the amount of $1,600 for pool concession and paving trade. For exclusive rights as the mobile ice cream truck vendor at Township Parks, the award is for 1 year. Bid notices were provided to 118 prospective bidders from our bidders list and 7 conduct bid packages. Our 1 bid was received. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-6.
Authorize qualified purchasing agent to award contracts and purchase goods below township's bid threshold.
Councilman Albanese.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the purchasing agent to be able to award contracts over the pay-to-play threshold of $17,500, but below the bid threshold of $44,000. There was a change to state law last year that allows QPA makes these awards. The paperwork required from vendors prior to the award would stay the same. This resolution will help expedite purchases because the right when day 11 hits after the political disclosure form is submitted, the purchasing department can issue a purchase order. There were some times last year that we just missed the deadline for council meetings and had to wait an additional 2 to 3 weeks for the resolution to be approved before purchase order could be issued.
Thank you. 4-7.
Authorize acceptance of grant Safe and Secure Communities Program 24-1506.
Councilman Ambrosino, please.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the insertion of a grant in the amount of $45,150 from the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety for the Safe and Secure Communities Grant Program. The Safe and Secure Communities Grant Program, which was enacted into law in 1993, is designed to provide municipalities with funding to add law enforcement personnel vital to effective police operations and other crime-related strategies as warranted by the needs of the community. The program allows for the funding of additional officers or funding of law enforcement support personnel, which would free up officers for direct law enforcement activities. In Brick Township, these funds are used to offset police department salaries. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-8.
Authorize shared services agreement fiscal year 24 Ocean County Sheriff's Traffic Enforcement Program.
Councilwoman Pontarera, please.
Thank you again, Council President. This resolution authorizes a shared services agreement with Ocean County for the FY24 Sheriff's Office Traffic Enforcement Program. Participation in this grant program will allow our township to be reimbursed for overtime expenses that are incurred by our police department at an hourly rate not to exceed $70 per hour for traffic enforcement activities. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-9.
Authorize updated enabling resolution 1507-01044 Township of Brick Planning Incentive Program.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes an agreement with the NJDEP Green Acres Program to provide funding for the township's planning incentive program. This agreement will increase Green Acres funding for the township's open space acquisitions by $1.2 million. This resolution modifies one approved by the Township Council in January after the NJDEP Green Acres Program made changes and increased the potential reimbursement amount. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-10.
Authorize updated enabling resolution for supplemental funding request 1507-01044 Township of Brick Planning Incentive Program.
Councilman Feynman.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes a request to the NJDEP Green Acres Program for an additional $2 million that may be needed for potential open space acquisitions as recommended by the Mayor's Brick Open Space Savers Committee. The parcels are located on Hooper Avenue, Adamston Road, and Herbertsville Road. This resolution modifies one approved by the Township Council in January after the NJDEP Green Acres Program made changes and increased the potential reimbursement amount. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-11.
Authorize sale of 2 new taxicab business licenses.
Councilwoman Travers.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the same of 2 new taxicab business licenses. The minimum bid has been set at $200. The Township Council Business and Finance Committee approved the sale based on requests from taxicab companies who meet the criteria set forth in the Township Code. Thank you.
Thank you. 4-12, please.
412A is an inspection fund release for block 382.43, 382 lot 3.02, and 8.01. B is an inspection fund release for block 446 lot 1. C is an inspection fund release for block 1149 lot 5. D is a performance guarantee and inspection fund release for block 1170 lot 10.01. And E is an inspection fund release for block 1338.15 lot 22.
Thank you. 413.
Tax collector?
So much.
Mm-hmm.
So, 13A, 100% DAV widow of veteran deduction for block 377.01, lot 66. 13B, 100% DAV widow of veteran deduction for block 1256.06, lot 9. 13C, 100% DAV widow of veteran deduction of block 1399, lot 114. And 13D are overpayments for 2024 of block 90, lot 9, and block 1192.08, lot 128.
Thank you. And this brings us to the end of our consent agenda. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council? Seeing none, close council. Open to public for questions on these resolutions only. Yes, sir.
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. Two quick questions about the consent agenda. Number one, first one is number 4 on the the diesel fuel. This is regards, I guess this is regards to vehicles in town, or is this diesel fuel that is used to power generators? No, don't worry about it. No, that's okay. No, it's fine. No, I just got curious about number 4. The diesel fuel, is that for the townships used in vehicles or for things like generators or
It's for the fleet,
so vehicles?
yes.
Yeah, I have a question about this. I know this has been addressed in the past, and I'm not as big on electric vehicles as I used to be in the past because of various issues, but how is it economical, or has the council or the township investigated how economical, if it's economical to go to biofuel, not necessarily electric, but biofuel, and also Toyota's coming out with fuel cell vehicles, not in America yet, but overseas. Or are you pretty much just, we're satisfied with the economics of diesel powering the vehicles in the fleet? More economical to go
Can you?
Sure.
biofuel or?
So we have a electric vehicle committee that was started by Mayor Ducey, continued by Mayor Crate, that is looking at how we would do infrastructure improvements to accommodate getting more electric vehicles and more environmentally friendly vehicles. We have stations at Windward Beach, we have stations at Drum Point Sports Complex, and our next priority is to get some stations here. And we're also upgrading our fleet as we go when the opportunity arises to pursue more environmentally friendly vehicles such as electric vehicles. However,
yeah.
we're not going to prioritize that for things like garbage trucks
Yeah.
and our buses that transport our seniors.
Yeah, I
And
understand
some
that.
of the technology on that is not.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio. I'm a big news junkie, so WINS had a thing about in New York. I think it is. They were up in an uproar because I think it was the mayor of New York wanted to replace their buses with electric, and they said an electric bus would cost $400,000, but the diesels are only $150,000, and there's the problem with the impact on the electrical grid. So I understand about that. I'm not really, like I said, not as big as on electric as I used to be. That's one thing. And the second was the consent agenda number 11, the taxi cab business licenses. Actually, what Councilman Minicino said earlier has answered part of this. I guess that this doesn't generate a lot of revenue for the township. It's only $200 per taxi cab. So how many licenses do we have, do we sell every year?
So these are the only 2 that we have at this time.
That's it.
We haven't had it for some time because there hasn't been a request, so these would be the 2 that we have. The township does not necessarily look at it as a money-making opportunity. We look at it as if there are people in need that would take advantage of the taxi cab. Clearly there are. These folks are coming to us for a license. We'd like to be sure that they're able to access that system.
I'm not making faces. I'm trying to find the right distance to get so I don't get feedback like usually, but I better keep my phone away from this. Yeah, because Oh, oh yeah, because I was gonna mention about the loss of revenue, but $400 a year is really nothing. But because I know that Lyft and Uber, I drive for DoorDash myself, so Lyft and Uber is really taking a lot of business away from taxi cabs. So I was just wondering if these two, it's only two companies, so $400 is really nothing considering our $80 million a year budget. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from public? Yes.
Nan Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. And about the agenda having just block and lot, I can't key in on exactly where I saw it when I came in here earlier, but there is, and I will definitely find it before I post a letter to the media, the newspapers and whatever, that claimed New Jersey is rather good about supplying the facts. In other words, the address in addition to a block and lot, or possibly a place of it, since most of us don't know the block and lot even of our own homes. So I'm going to register my complaint here that you fail to accede to our request. I'm our request, and there are other people that would rather know the address than the block and lot, but be that as it may, if you can't do both, then do address, not block and lot, but better do both of them if that's how you feel you prefer that. And I will find in this book that's written by Nelson Johnson, JSC retired, and John C. Connell. And it has to do with the New Jersey Open Public Records and Meetings. So I'll find the exact verbiage and put it in my letter to the media.
Thank you. Anybody else, please? Yes, sir.
Hi, Vic Finelli. I'll do the easy ones first. Number 6, it just mentions the township bid threshold. Is that a certain amount? Is it a dollar amount?
Mr. Chair, please, Council President, or Council Person who's talking about it, mention it. It's between 17.5 and 44,000.
I didn't hear that. So the top end is 44,000.
Correct.
I told you that was gonna be an easy one. Number 9 and 10, you keep increasing the Green Acres grant request. Went up 1.2 million to 4.6, now 2.09 to 6.7 million. Is that all earmarked for one particular place, or?
So they're increasing the amount that they're giving back to us. That's what these two resolutions are amending.
Okay.
Once we finalize some of the.
So they already committed both of these amounts?
Yeah, and these resolutions are increasing the amount that they are going to be giving us back in reimbursements.
Do we have a particular place it's gonna go?
Right, so one of these is for our planning incentive grant program, which is for open space acquisition, which is the Bretton Woods property, and there was another small property included in that. And then the other one is for open space projects. The two we have on the agenda is finishing up Cedar Bridge Manor and Mallard Point.
Okay,
What's next?
doing good. The taxi cab one, you said people are requesting that they want, do we need more taxi cabs? And
Well, we're going from 0 to 2, so we felt, the council felt that we needed 2 because 2 requests.
2 more,
were made.
we have, what, 8 now?
We have 2 now, we're going from 0 to 2.
Oh, I didn't read that. You have,
These are the only 2 that we have.
these are the only 2 that you
Yeah,
have?
Madam Clerk, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's if we receive bids on these. This is authorizing the receipt of bids. So if we receive the bids, then for both.
Well,
then
if you have the 2, what does it, go up for bid every couple of years, or, I don't understand?
We've done it based on requests, so, because we have not had much interest in the taxi cab business, that kind of died away, like Mr. Foster said, with Uber and Lyft. So 2 inquiries led the Business and Finance Committee to think, well, if there's inquiries from businesses that want to start taxi cabs here, then we should.
We
react to that
have
by
0
going
right
after
now?
There's 0 right now. 0 taxi cab licenses issued in the Township of Brick.
What happened? We used to have one over my neighborhood on Mount Open Road.
Uber and Lyft.
Oh, okay. All right, my last one is a little more. There's 34 pages of legalese on that bond thing. I think the more I read it, the more I got confused. Don't take it personal.
I knew you were gonna ask.
If you, I was under the assumption, which could be incorrect, that like when you come up with a capital project and then you bond it and you say it has a useful life of 15 years, you bond it for 15 years, all right? Is that correct?
We do, we have to identify what its useful life is at the outset of the project.
And you originally bonded, so it's paid off in 15 years?
Well, when we do a bond ordinance, we go out for temporary notes, because we don't know the precise amount of what we're going to spend. So we usually sell the bands and turn them into bonds when we have a better sense of the actual cost.
And how long could that
And when is
take?
the prime time to do that sale in terms of getting the best interest rates?
How long would that take? Years?
It's something that our township auditor and CFO revisit regularly, at least every year.
All right, go, just walk me through one and then see if I can catch on here. The first one on the list, right? These are all capital improvements, right? Not purchases of police cars or anything else. It's all capital
They're
improvements.
capital improvements.
Okay, so the first one here says, various capital improvements, adopted 7/12/16, and useful life of 15 years, and the bond amount is $714,000. So we did this back in 2016, right?
We went out for bands, temporary notes.
Okay. And now this is going for permanent ones?
Permanent financing.
It took 7 years.
Sure, because you have to make sure you have the actual cost of the projects, and these things don't always happen overnight, and we also wait for the prime time to do the sale.
Okay. You obviously know what you're doing, but I don't.
Our CFO and our auditor.
No, I know, I've talked to her. I was just trying to get into my own head, why something 17 years, and then we've got the next one on the list is something that happened in 2017, and it was only useful life of 5 years.
Yeah, we capitalize when the time is right. Maximize.
So you're combining all of these things now to go out to bonds because you're getting a good price?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from public on the consent the resolutions only? Seeing none, close public, roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Feinman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Ambrosino.
Yes.
President Menachino.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. This brings us to our computer bill resolution.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $12,360,712.02.
Thank you. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council? Seeing none, open to public on questions on the computer bills. Seeing none, close public, roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Feinman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Ambrosino.
Yes.
President Menachino.
Abstain Teamsters and yes to the rest. This brings us to a manual bill resolution.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,914,593.35.
Thank you. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Seeing none, close council. Open to public for questions on the manual bill only. Seeing none, close public, roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Feinman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Ambrosino.
Yes.
President Menachino.
Yes.
Thank you.
This brings us to an ordinance on first reading. There's no public comment tonight.
And, you ready? An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 225 to establish requirements and fees applicable to lead paint inspections for rental properties in accordance with Public Law 2021, C 182.
Thank you. Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. This ordinance is needed in response to the state's new lead-based paint law, that's NJAC 528A. The ordinance implements lead paint inspections in brick, which will be completed by Township Code Enforcement officials during the rental certificate of occupancy process. The regulations apply to single-family rental property owners only. Once a unit is certified lead-free, the township still has to go back after 2 years in the event of chipping or peeling. Property owners have the right to get a more detailed lead-free certificate at their cost. Short-term rentals have to be inspected by July of 2024, and then at each change of tenancy or every 2 years. The state does an inspection every 5 years for multifamily dwellings. The township applied for and received a grant to purchase testing materials and to send our staff for training. The lead-based paint testing will be part of the rental checklist going forward. The rate set for inspections is $25 plus an additional $20 per unit inspected for deposit into the Lead Hazard Control Assistance Fund, which is established pursuant to state law. Re-inspection will cost $50 plus an additional $20 per unit inspected for deposit into the Lead Hazard Control Assistance Fund, established pursuant to state law. The $20 surcharge does not apply where the unit owner demonstrates that the DCA has already assessed such a surcharge. Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion in a second.
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Seeing none, close council. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Feynman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Ambrosino.
Yes.
President Menachino.
Yes.
Thank you.
This brings us to public comments.
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
Thank you. Anybody from public? Yes, Mr. Snoop.
Before I read my letter, John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. First thing, this lead paint inspection thing that you're going to do within the next 2 weeks, just make sure it counts current places, not just newly rented places, because we've had a lot of rentals in the last year or two. The second thing is, just so you know, Brick Memorial Girls won the state championship today up in Carolina Lanes, just so you have that in the bowling area. So at least this way you guys know it. And if anybody from the Board of Ed happens to listen to it, they'll know it too. You know. Okay, now I'll read my letter. Dated February 25th. Dear Mayor Craig, Council President Vincent Menachino, all Brick councilmen, councilwomen, as well as the residents and workers of Brick Township and all of Ocean County. Just so the citizens know, what is the latest on the situation with all these sites? Has anything been done yet? Is anyone Okay, so that's the one. And then, is anyone helping the people fight air pollution associated with the toxins flowing off the Garden State Parkway? Will anyone show concern over those areas impacted by the New Jersey Turnpike Authority's commissioners' harmful decisions to rip out the trees and brush surrounding the Garden State Parkway about 11 years ago? Various studies brought before the council show proof that the ill effects of those tiny particulates being sent through the air to our lungs from the Garden State Parkway will cause bedridden lives and premature deaths to many of our seniors. Studies of air pollution have proven that the toxins from high-volume traffic areas harm our citizens. The New Jersey Turnpike Authority commissioners have left a legacy of autism, asthma, COPD, lung and mouth cancers, heart attacks, and premature deaths in our area. Our neighbors, or even the relatives and friends of those poor people afflicted with autism, asthma, COPD, lung cancer, emphysema, bronchitis, lingering heart and lung diseases, feel the pain every day. 14 to 20-foot pollution net walls, pollution, noise, and safety walls along the side of the Garden State Parkway are needed in the Evergreen Woods area, Primrose Garden area, Greenbriers, the Birchwood, the Briar Mill, and Brick High School, Town Hall, and in reality, other areas of Brick and Ocean County as well. Large trees and thick brush that were destroyed by the New Jersey Turnpike Authority Commissioners on the Garden State Parkway should be planted for the health of all the Brick Township and Ocean County residents. Thanks for your responses. Sincerely, John Sluka.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I yield back 2 minutes.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Cole.
Nan Call, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. When I saw about lead paint, it immediately popped into my mind that when I first moved here, there was so much about the effects of the possible cause of autism in the children and the very high numbers of autism. Now, Mr. Sluka just touched on it. It's nice to see that you'd rather be reactive than proactive. I wonder, did nobody ever think to check whether lead paint could have been responsible for the high autism rate here? I know they used to have a POAC group. I don't remember the gentleman's name that I came in contact with about it, but he was very active. And all this that's going on now with the respiratory. And I would suggest that people think about looking on the internet for a gentleman in the United Kingdom, Dr. John Campbell, just like the soup, Campbell. And he gives you data, statistics about the COVID, about the excess deaths reported, and what causes may have been for the excess deaths. He talks about the myocarditis in young boys, well, males. They're not necessarily boys. They could be 18, and they would consider themselves an adult. He is very good, and I've been following him from the beginning, and still he has plenty of ammunition, and I would suggest people read his reports, and he has slides frequently, and he goes over the statistics and analyzes them. And it's very interesting because I have never believed Dr. Anthony Fauci, who came from the area of Brooklyn that I grew up in, went to Regis High School at the time that I went to Catherine Macaulay High School in Brooklyn, but my son went to Regis High School 20 years after Fauci. And I know the reputation of Regis High School, and the Jesuits told us when our son was first being accepted that they've had an easy ride up till now because they were the cream of the cream of the crop. But now every boy in the school is the cream of the cream of the crop, and they have a lot of competition, and the Jesuits demanded a lot of intensive work. But Dr. Fauci, I have no use for him because he has never produced anything that indicated he did testing on the vaccines. The vaccines were warp speed, which was what President Donald Trump had requested them to do. He wanted to shut down and did, but not just for the 2 weeks he had envisioned, but much more, and has caused there to be serious effects. And some of them aren't for just the young people. I know a woman that attends a meeting I do every week that goes to a specialist in Pennsylvania because she has long COVID. But this council isn't interested in anything that isn't invented in their brains.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. I promise to be less enthusiastic when I'm raising my hand next time. I don't know if you saw, but I knocked my glasses off. Anyway, two quick questions, two quick comments, actually. First is about autism. I have a cousin who lives in Township. She's got two kids. This is going back to the 1990s. I know my mother is still alive, and she died back in 2000. But anyway, there's a big problem. There's a big issue, and it also comes up during Township River council meetings also, about there's an autism cluster in Township River, and they did a lot of studies. I don't know if who Township River, they not just the attention of Township River, but because they have the Seba Guyby Superfund site there off of Route 37. Kind of spooky when I drive past. I always think, ugh, when I think of all the chemicals, but same thing with the Brick Reservoir area. Not, former brick landfill. But if there is a question and the council wants to investigate it any further, you might want to just reach out to Tom Sherver and ask them if they can send the results from that autism cluster that they dealt with and see how they dealt with it years ago. Because it's still a subject of attention. I haven't been to a Tom Sherver council meeting in about a year now, but that's something to think about. I thought you were waving at me. I didn't. Is it that hot in here? Okay.
Yes, very.
But yeah, I got all this stuff on. And the second thing I wanted to do was NJ New Jersey Natural Gas. NJ is doing work in my neighborhood, Birchwood Park. They're doing something about their redoing the gas lines they're checking them from the house, from the street to the house. And I just want to compliment the Brick Police Department because they've been out there on the streets, and they've been very professional, very on top of making sure that the streets are blocked off properly. They were doing my neighbor a couple weeks ago, and I complimented them and I made them a pot of coffee. So I hope, because I wanted to appreciate it because they did a really great job. I know I've criticized them in the past before your time as mayor. But, like I said, they've done a great job with they're polite. When some people tried to drive down the street, they would tell them firmly. They didn't scream at them or anything like that. Or like I've seen firefighters do years ago when there's a fire on Cedar Bridge, and someone said, I'd live right there. And the firefighter was cursing at them. But the police were very professional, very polite, did a great job. I just want to call them up with that and compliment them for the great work that they did. And I hope they like the coffee. So when they come back to do my house, make sure make another pot. Coffee with cinnamon in it. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Anybody else from public, please? Yes, sir.
My name is Gatesy Nixon. I live off Mentaloking Road. I'm here to talk about the former dance studio at 627 Mentaloking Road that's under construction. At the end of the summer last year, I noticed that the contractors didn't remove the final wall that's right next to the sidewalk, even though they took down the rest of the building. It sat like that for months. So I did an open records request to find out why they might do that. I did that in October. This right here is a picture from December. This apparently is not new construction. Looks ridiculous, right? That's not new construction.
Excuse me. You're not allowed to face them. You need to address the council, not the audience, okay? Thank you.
This is not new construction.
No, don't be a wise guy, okay? Turn the picture around the other way.
You can tell me what I do wrong.
I just told you what you're doing wrong, and you
I'm
continue
showing
to
you the
do it.
back of the picture.
I don't want to see the back of the picture.
I don't
You're
care what you
addressing-
want.
Listen, you're addressing the council, okay? You need to address the council.
What you want is irrelevant to me. So, that picture doesn't show new construction. It's a renovation. It appears that they kept that one wall so that they can claim just renovation and they can maintain, excuse me, the setback from the street that already exists. The next time you guys drive down Mentaloking Road, I want you to look around and look and see how close the buildings are to the road. Within the last 50 years, there isn't one building that's set right on the sidewalk like that building. So you had an opportunity to make them set it back, but you didn't take it. So that kind of frustrated me when I realized that. The other thing, though, is in my Oprah request, I looked to see if they had a permission to shut down the sidewalk. And I didn't see anything. So they shut down the sidewalk for 6 months. 6 months, you can't walk through there. This is a picture of my neighbor walking her dog in the street from December. That's about 3 months after they shut down the sidewalk. This is a hole that they built, they dug right there into the sidewalk. This is from December. This is the hole today, actually yesterday. So they haven't done anything. They left it like that. 6 months is a hole, at least. And I have to walk around it because they're, I don't know, too lazy to fix it, don't feel like it. I'm not really sure. But right now, I looked and that wall that they left standing isn't even attached to the building. It's obviously going to be replaced as the last bit of construction because they're not going to leave a 50-year-old set of windows in there. They're going to replace it. So that's their fig leaf that they covered themselves with. So in conclusion, 6 months after they dug that hole, it's still a hole. They didn't ask for permission. There's apparently no deadline for them to fix it. I look up what the town has. We have tons, we have dozens of people in engineering and inspection, and no one appears to be an advocate for people who want to walk through there. I don't know how many times people from engineering and inspection drove past there, never took a second look at it. I looked at it. I don't even work for the town. So I wonder what you guys are doing up there. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else, please? Yes, sir.
Hi. I'm Gary Penzel. I'm the president of the Seawood Harbor Property Owners Association. This is Tony and Fred. They're also on the board. We're here tonight. Tony and I were here last March, to just make sure that the council was aware of the really severe conditions and severe flooding we're having in Seawood Harbor. In January, we had back-to-back storms, and on Knoll Crest Road, we had 14 inches of water. I don't know if the council is familiar with Seawood Harbor, but basically there's a road that goes right through the wetlands, wetlands on the left, wetlands on the right, and there was no vehicles could get through for 5-6 hours. School buses couldn't get there, parents couldn't take the kids to school. I know that the town doesn't have a lot of options with it, and I know we need to get funding to raise the road, and we've been asking for that, and we thank the council because after we were here last year, we were told that our community was raised from 12th to 7th in the priority list, and we really appreciated that. But there is a couple of things that the town can do, and one of them is there's a bulkhead that was erected on Bayshore Drive. The mayor was there about 3 years ago. They had a ribbon cutting ceremony. There's a picture of what the bulkhead looks like today. There was, it's a 200-foot bulkhead. I think it was put in by Fletcher Kramer. And there's a huge hole in that bulkhead that's been there since December. And the water from the bay, when the bay rises, it comes right through the wall. And there's supposed to be caps on the top of the bulkhead. The 200-foot section of bulkhead, the caps are all gone. And you could actually see the water through the top of the bulkhead. It's coming in through the hole in the bulkhead, and it's been flooding Knoll Crest and adding to the already horrible situation we have with flooding in the community. So I would really appreciate it if the council could find out why. We complained about it in December. We called the engineering department. They said that they can't just put a piece of wood there to block it. They had to go to the contractor to figure out how to fix it. I don't see where it's such a big deal to replace one section of bulkhead and fix the caps on it, especially when the town, I'm sure, paid a lot of money to do it. The other issue we have is there's a private beach on Rochester Drive, and it's supposed to be maintained by the owner of 87 Rochester Drive. This is a picture of the street. They used to have a Belgian block border. It's totally disintegrated, and the roadway is falling into the bay. And the town has put cones there so people don't park there, but as we speak, every day, pieces of the road are falling off into the bay. And it's really dangerous because if there's a big truck that comes there, it could possibly fall into the bay. It's a really, really bad situation. So again, anything that could be done by the township to make the owner of the beach take care of this property or just take over the ownership of that beach. This is causing major flooding. I have a picture that I had taken. This is a picture of Rochester Drive in Brick, and we had about 7, 8 inches of water up to everybody's driveway in the area because the water is just coming right over that private beach. And the gentleman that owns that house, his bulkhead has totally fallen apart. He had a vinyl bulkhead that's deteriorated, and his whole property just looks like a shambles. So if anything could be done to help us, we'd appreciate it. And again, we just would really appreciate an update on the remediation efforts to try to raise our road. We have 150 families, and it's really scary when you can't get out for 5, 6, 7 hours at a time for 150 families. We really appreciate whatever can be done.
I'll just add to that a little bit. Tony Almeida, 74 Rochester Drive. Basically, I don't want to repeat what Gary said. I'll just add a couple of other ideas or thoughts. I guess the residents are getting a little upset. We had so many storms, so this now has happened multiple times in one season. So a lot of the questions are coming up, which is, I know that you had a criteria on which streets were going to get remedied first, so we were on the list, but I guess it would help the residents know what the criteria was. Maybe if they saw that other people were impacted more, that there's more families impacted than they, maybe there's more stretches of road. We got quite a long road before you get out to dry land, getting out of our homes. So if we knew what the residents you guys used to figure out who the priorities, I think that would help people perhaps accept the situation a little better, and knowing that, you know, we're all in the same boat, at least some of us are on the same boat. So, you know, they won't think that they're just being ignored because they're being patient, waiting their turn, being nice about it. Right now, that's really how we're feeling, that we're bringing this condition onto ourselves because we don't make enough noise. And this is a community that pays for its own things. They do the right things, and they want to continue doing the right things. But when they're not listened to, then anger starts to build up. So if you would share with us, and we could share it back with with all the residents, how you determine who goes first, who doesn't, I think that would help us.
You, did anybody email the administration? Has anybody contacted the administration to find out how we figure that out?
No.
If not, reach out to town hall, and we'll make sure somebody gets back to you with the criteria on how you get on that list.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we were told we were on the list.
Right.
And after we complained last time, we were told that we were moved up from 12th to 7th, which was very well received by the community. But it's just not helping when people can't get out, and it's scary. It really is scary when you can't get out of your community.
We're gonna talk to the engineer, and if you just stay behind and we'll get some of your information and we can reach. Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, I could, if you don't mind, I could just leave you some pictures.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
I have 5 something to say.
thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
My name is Fred Topinka, and I'm at 49 Toronto Drive. The last storm that we had, we were told by the Brick Police they're kind enough to have a vehicle that's able to get in and get people in and out. At this particular storm, it was really a high level. But when we called for them, they told us that the vehicle was broke down. So that vehicle is our lifeline for the 150 families that are there. If that vehicle can't get in, nobody can get out, we can't get help. So I'd like to see if you can check on that and just make sure that that vehicle is operating so that, you know, we have a way out. During the summer, we have boats in the water so we can take them to a marina where we can get an ambulance and get some help. But in the wintertime, there's no boats. So thank you.
that one vehicle that was broken down, of the several that we have, is back up and running.
Oh, okay. Keep it running.
Hi, good evening. My name is Anna Mayer. I live at 66 Toronto Drive in Brick in Seawood Harbor. I've been there for 37 years now. Probably one of the first of the 150, not one of the first, maybe, of the 150 families who now live there. My concern is that I have lost several days, weeks, even if I added it up over 37 years, months of work. And at first it was a joke. The company didn't even believe me how many times I could get flooded in. They thought I was playing hooky. But now they understand. A few people have been to my home. My concern is also that you have so many new families, so many children, young children. You have families who do have to get back and forth to work for employment. And you also, I worry about anyone who has an illness or a disability. If there is a heart attack or there is a stroke, or they can't breathe, you can't leave that community during a flood. You can't get in, you can't get out. And if you do get out with the Humvee, where do you go? I work in Monmouth County, and I work for a large company there. You're not gonna drive me to work, what do I do? And this is a problem, because I have to be where I have to be for work. But I'm really worried about someone who's ill and can't get an ambulance or actually dies because they can't get out of Seawood Harbor. And what's gonna happen then? It hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet, but it could. It's a realization. So that's what I want to just, ask if we could do something. There was a bike path that's underwater, and I watch the water from where I am. I'm surrounded on 3 sides. It's high, very high, and it's getting higher. So if we don't raise even a portion of that road or somehow get a little bridge we can get up and over and gone. I mean, I had to literally go out and buy another car. I thought I bought an SUV that would get through the water. It couldn't get through the last storm or the storm before that. So I just want to make myself a little heard very nicely to say, please, this has to be looked into, and sooner than later. It's not just a Band-Aid, effect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? Yes, Mr. Fennell.
I go past that dance studio every time I go in and out of my neighborhood. And I always wondered why they left that one wall standing. Now I guess I know. I know the guy might have pissed you off a little bit.
No.
However, it's all new construction there. The building is getting bigger. They put up steel beams and everything else. It sounds to me, and I don't know all the rules, like somebody's gaming the system. If they left that one wall there so they can say this is not new construction, it's renovation. You might want to.
I'm not sure, but I'll look into it. I know the wall you're talking about.
Yeah, thank you.
I passed it myself.
And one last question, it has to do with green acres and everything, just something I noticed in my own neighborhood. If you have a lot, like a totally wooded lot, you own it, you want to build some houses on it, do you need permission to cut down all the trees?
Yes.
And do we normally grant that? Because if you go down Drum Point Road, just between like Brick Boulevard and Wawa, there's 3 different locations right there that you can see driving down the road, that they just clear-cutted the whole thing. Every tree is cut down. I watched one lot right on the corner, they did it the other day. That kind of defeats your whole green acre thing when somebody can just do that. Does the township normally just say, yeah, you can cut all the trees down, or?
No.
No? But if
There's a process to it, yeah.
there's a process. Now, if somebody didn't, do we always ensure that somebody doesn't follow the process? Like, they clear all the trees down, then they say, I want to build a house?
Usually the neighbors call and say something. So the fact that you're here, we appreciate it. So we'll look into that.
Yeah.
So again, if somebody doesn't come forward and tell us that, we don't always see it, we don't always know it.
Well, like the gentleman said, I'm sure that the people that enforce those things, go up and down the roads, look at all of these things, the dance studio thing has been going on for a year, 2 years. They go up and down the road. Do they take it on their own to go out and do that?
I'm sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from public, please? Yes, Ms. Cole.
Nan Call, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. Another example of you being reactive rather than proactive. I have asked many, many times to have a town hall meeting. You took away 2 of our weeks for meetings where we would have had caucus meetings and preparation for the formal meeting the next week. And at this point, I believe you should put back in having a town hall meeting at least 4 times a year, if not more. I don't believe that you have any 5-year plan, 10-year plan. You might have bonds for that amount of time. But I did mention once before, I worked for a huge corporation, and they had a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, what they were going to do, what was going to have to be redone within 5 years, 10 years, and not leave it to the last minute and not start then figuring out. You need to do that, and you need to have those meetings to foster camaraderie between the people, your citizens, the people you supposedly represent and are supposed to be. You took an oath to respect our needs and address them. And in closing, the one thing I want to touch upon has to do with Superstorm Sandy. Now, I am, and have been since about 2002, a member of the Ocean County Commission on Individuals with Disabilities. And until this year, the president of it was a young woman named Janine, it'll come to me, I forget it. I met her mother and father in ShopRite on Saturday, I think it was, or Sunday evening. And her mother and I looked at one another and said, we know each other, and finally it came out that it was from that. Her mother, Michelle, and father, I forget his name, he was there, and he's a great man. During Superstorm Sandy, what they did for the people who had severe disabilities, who had electric wheelchairs that they couldn't get out of their house because it was flooded in the house, it was flooded outside the house, and the electric wheelchairs wouldn't work. Communication wouldn't work. But you don't know that because you don't have the public who knows these things and have been dealing with them for years and years. Do town hall meetings and find out what we need and then what we want.
Thank you. Anybody else from public, please? Seeing none, close public. Mrs. Berger?
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you. I just want to first thank the residents that came out this evening to speak with us. We appreciate that, and having you come out and bringing these things to our attention is helpful to us, and we appreciate it. So we look forward to getting back to you on the issues that you brought forth. Thank you. Just a little bit of what's going on around town for the next week or two. I want to thank the Osborneville Elementary School for inviting me to their fundraiser this evening at Barnes & Noble. I had a chance to read to some kindergartners, first grade, second grade, and third graders. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed myself. So thank you to Osborneville Elementary for that invitation. Also next week, if you have kids in school, it's Read Across America Week. So I'll be hoping to get out to some more schools, including our township preschool classes, Herbertsville Elementary, Osborneville, and Warren Wolf. And if there's any other elementaries out there that would like me to come in to read to the kids next week or into the following week for Read Across America, I'd be happy to do so. We have some fun things coming up in Brick. A couple of ribbon cuttings on Saturday, March 2nd. Step Up Family Services is hosting a ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. I'm sorry, I don't have an address for that one. On Monday, March 4th, Here Again USA, located at 990 Cedar Bridge Avenue, is also having a ribbon cutting for their new business at 11 a.m. And Thursday, the one everybody's been waiting for, March 7th, is our grand opening and ribbon cutting for Labodi's, and that's taking place at 9 a.m. I don't think I need to tell anyone where that's located. We've all been waiting a long time for that, and we're all excited for that. So we hope to see you there for that ribbon cutting to celebrate really the rebirth of that shopping center over the last few years. If you are looking for something fun to do on Friday, March, oh my gosh, I don't have the date in front of me, 7th, 8th, I'm so sorry. Friday, March 8th, I wrote the time but not the date. Friday, March 8th, our annual Brick Hero Awards is taking place. We have a lot of great people being awarded this year, and one of the things that we did that was a little bit different was we actually had categories this year. It was on our website, and a lot of wonderful people were nominated. So I invite the public to please come out and join us. This is hosted by our Mayor's Student Advisory. Those are students who attend Brick Township and Brick Memorial High School. They help to plan the entire event. They run the entire event. And it's really exciting to honor people from around town. It's just regular, everyday people. We have teachers that are honored. Some of our police officers are honored. Businesses that have done great things around town are being honored. So we invite you to come out and join us. It is a fundraiser for our student advisory, so it's $8 to get in. If you're a senior, it's $5. It's a wonderful evening, and I invite you to come out at 7 p.m. and it's held at Brick Township High School right across the street. And if you have a student or a child who's playing basketball with our recreation program, just a little notification that the Rudy Awards will be on Saturday, March 9th at 11 a.m. at Veterans Memorial. If you'd like to come out to celebrate those basketball players who have played their hearts out all season. The cool thing about the Rudy Awards is it's not just the best player or the fastest or the one who scored the most points. These are the kids with heart who tried their best and showed a lot of improvement throughout the season, and we like to celebrate those kids as well. So please come out and join us for that. And I believe that's all I have this evening, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Starkey?
No, I have nothing for tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Nothing, thank you.
Madam Secretary?
No, thank you.
Councilman Albanese?
On a positive note, I want to congratulate the Brick Memorial Girls Bowling Team on their state championship. And the residents out there, we hear your needs, and hopefully we can come up with a resolution for you guys. That's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pontarera?
Thank you, Council President. I too want to thank all of our residents who came out to express their concerns and issues. That's exactly what we hope that people who have issues will do, which is come and let us know. So I appreciate your attendance. I know you didn't have to, but we appreciate seeing your faces and hearing firsthand, and we'll be thinking of ways to help. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman DeYoung?
Thank you. A few meetings ago, we went out for SRECs. It's our solar renewable energy credits. They go out to bid when the market is at its peak, and we received back from those credits $33,210. So that's from our solar renewable energy credits, SRECs. Also, we have a couple new buy-in brick businesses. We have Eastern Shore Heating and Air Conditioning at a 10% credit, and Super Polo 2 on Hooper Avenue at a 7.5% credit. And then last but not least, of course, we have our senior St. Patrick's Day party over at the Senior Center on Aurora, and that will be on Wednesday, March 14th. It's going to be at 11:30, and you must register to join in on the fun. So please call seniors at 732-920-8686. And that is all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Feinman?
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to highlight a Facebook post from the Brick Township Police Department that they were talking about scams. So their post said that police officers will never call you and ask for money or personal information. And I wanted to share some additional information that scammers usually target people using key tools like uncertainty, emotion, or urgency. If con artists can make you unsure how to act or create fear or excitement, then they might be able to force you to act quickly to make a bad decision. So you want to avoid that. So just remember to never give out your personal information unless you initiated that phone call. Never give your checking your checking account number over the phone. If the caller says your grandchild or relative is in trouble, asking for money or bail money, I assure you, your grandchild is not in trouble. Hang up and call that relative to ensure that they're okay, or another trusted relative. And then never allow a caller to pressure you into acting immediately on any offer, unless, of course, it's an offer that you can't refuse. Then that's a horse of a different color. Stay safe and have fun.
Thank you. Councilwoman Travers.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Vice President Ambrosino.
Nothing for me as well.
Okay, thank you. So our next meeting is March 12th, 7 p.m. I get a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.